is history documented? What do we see with our own eyes? It's understood that the victors write their own side of history. So what happens to the losers' history? What is lost in the retelling of a new narrative? I've collected thousands of photographs from my travels, and I thought I'd share them with you whilst having a little rant. Welcome to Shiny Boots. I've been taking photos of buildings with dates above the door recently. Seeing a date on a building makes us usually assume that's when the building was constructed. I was in Leeds the other day filming all of the mills around Temple Works, you may have seen my short, and spotted this on the corner of Foundry Mill. So to me, that looks like the number 780. What does it look like to you? Let's reverse search and play a game of what date is it? Round 1. This is the first description. I did this 3 times and got 3 different answers. So it includes the initials BFS. Does that look like BFS? And the year 1780. I thought it might say that. Is that a 1 going through the 8? Because I don't see it at the beginning. AI concludes that this must be from the Victorian or the Georgian era. Now for round 2 of what date is it? Next up, we're told the image shows a detail of the architecture above a shop called the Furnace. And this time we're told it says JGS and it's from 1805. Okay, third time lucky? Yes. This displays a cornerstone or architectural detail with the year 780 carved into it. 780 AD falls within the early medieval period in Europe. This is the Byzantine Empire and also corresponds to the Tibetan calendar's year of the female earth sheep. Hilarious bit of trivia. Right, so which one is correct? What year is it? Which piece of historical fact that AI is supplying is the truth? How many people will try to convince you that that line going through the 8 in the middle is a 1, when it clearly isn't? I actually spotted this one today when I was driving and screeched to a halt. I'm finding as time goes on that I'm less able to trust the information that AI is supplying. It feels like even the purpose of AI was to get us hooked, dumb us down so we stop thinking so critically and we rely on a computer to tell us all of the answers. But as we can see from what I've just demonstrated, the same picture generates 3 completely different answers. Another way history is taught is through plaques on buildings. We have quite a lot of them in the UK, which are classified as historical markers about the building itself or a person who used to live there. This is the one that's attached to Temple Mill in Leeds and says that John Marshall, who was the founder of the Leeds flax industry, erected the building. I imagine he did it single-handedly because everyone was far more capable in the Victorian times than they are now. This is from Marshall's Mill, which is opposite Temple Mill, and mentions that the mill used machines powered by the Holbeck. Holbeck is what this area is called in Leeds. So what's a Holbeck? A Holbeck is a natural stream and water course. This whole mill was powered by water. What happened to that technology? Here's another one. This building is opposite Pontefract Castle. I've done a full video on that if you're interested. And this is the plaque you'll find outside of the castle itself. The plaque on the building opposite reads, "Formerly the castle's main guard or barbican, built about 1150 to defend the entrance of the castle." This building, yeah? And then 1649, reputed to be the first debtor's prison in England. Reputed to be? Basically, hearsay. And this last one is from the Albert Dock, which was built in 5 years. 5 years. I have actually filmed all around the Albert Dock. It's just another video waiting to happen. All done by horses, shoveling out the mud and the water, having to move the water. There is the River Mersey that they had to contend with. The tides, they had to build a cofferdam. Oh, it was super complicated and they didn't have any machinery. It's so far-fetched. And it wasn't just one dock that was constructed. There are multiple docks all next to each other that were being constructed simultaneously, as well as basically the whole of Liverpool at the same time. It doesn't make sense. And that's the same the world over. Everyone decided they wanted their buildings to look the same. I want loads and loads of columns. No, even more columns. And some faces on the buildings. Yeah. Ooh, what about men holding up the building? You know the ones. You know what else I really like? Domes. Multiple domes. Yeah. And really elaborate lampposts. I know there's not loads of people living here and the country's just started out, but what about if we have multiple floors and a basement? Don't you think you should be building something a bit smaller? We haven't even got electricity yet. Absolutely not. I've got a vision. And the horse has also got a vision. And we're going to do it together. And make it a reality, yeah? First time, no mistakes. So let me get this straight. This is the beginning before you had technology? Yeah. Well, sort of. We were building massive cathedrals 1,000 years ago. Oh, and castles. How are those structures still standing? But modern buildings are a pile of... You, my dear, are asking too many questions. My next video is going to be a full-blown investigation into the Palace of Parliament. That's the humongous administration building in Bucharest in Romania. It's said to have been built in 1984, so it's super recent. It's like the heaviest building in the world. Yeah, it is a monster and there's lots of controversy around it. I've decided to reframe how I go about this research because it is so recent, and I'm going to see if I can prove that it was built in 1984. It's good having a rant, isn't it? Right, one of the other ways that we can tell when a building was apparently constructed is by using maps. But then we also have to question who's making the maps. I did receive a comment from a lovely chap who said a member of his family was part of the Freemasons and he was responsible for map making. Like when William the Conqueror came over and basically nothing was built. All of the castles were built as soon as he arrived. And he's going around with his notepad and pen or his scroll and making note of all of the buildings that are there, who owns them, and then putting all of that information into the Domesday book. What if all of those castles were already there? How old are they actually? Yes, I've just found a picture from Plovdiv in Bulgaria. I'm gonna guess probably a place you've never heard of. I'd never heard of it before. They've got an amphitheatre under street level. What are we walking on? It's exactly the same when you go to Sofia in Bulgaria. They've got an underground system there and they decided to build a new line. And when they go down, they find these, well, they're calling them Roman cities. They find a complete Roman city. Here I am in Sofia in Bulgaria. And yeah, this is what they stumbled across. I'm completely underground. The street is above my head. And thankfully, the Bulgarian government have decided to preserve everything. And you can walk around like an exhibition. And look at the quality of brickwork. A lot of it is pretty much intact, considering it's been buried and built on top of. Obviously, they've had to insert a few bricks to maintain the structure. Let's be honest, none of our modern day buildings would survive underground for, 1,000 years? And this here is also in Sofia, and it is one tiny corner of the gate that used to exist to enter the city. And this was one of 4 gates. You had north, south, east and west. And this Roman road that they've excavated had 3 more roads underneath it. So that's 4 Roman roads that they've found underground. I keep catching myself laughing, and I laugh because it's so ridiculous. What is going on and what did go on? We just don't know, do we? We literally have no idea. Oh, this is a good photo. This is from Plovdiv. And is that just me, or does that look melted? I said I was just going to do photos and then I got carried away, didn't I? I'm going to finish with one last way that we're informed about the history of a building, and that is by the name we see attached to the structure, and therefore its designation. What was this before it was a Starbucks? What was this before it was Cafe Nero? It was St. Enoch's Underground. In fact, in its infancy, it was called a subway. It was even a travel centre at one point. The changing faces of St. Enoch's Station, which was part of Glasgow's subway network, one of the first to ever open after London and Budapest. St. Enoch's Hotel used to be on this square before they demolished it in 1977 to make room for St. Enoch's Shopping Centre. I would hazard a guess that the majority of people, if not all people, would say that St. Enoch's Hotel was more beautiful and that the shopping centre is an eyesore. So why is there so much destruction around old world buildings? Either the people making these decisions are complete idiots, they can't keep up with the maintenance and afford to run the building anymore because they have messed with the market so much, they want to destroy evidence and rewrite the historical narrative, or all of the above. There might also be another option. Answers on a postcard, please. You may have heard people talk about this being the time of enlightenment, the time of the Great Awakening, and might be thinking, that sounds like a pile of... And that could be true. But it may also be true that we are in the allegory of Plato's cave. The Greek philosopher Plato described illusion, delusion, and ignorance like you're living in a cave and watching shadows on the walls, believing it's reality, when in fact you're a prisoner and the shadows are cast by the puppeteers, where we become puppets, trapped in the narrative fed to us by the education system, thinking you know the truth, when in fact you're staring at the shadows of lies. Something Carl Jung was also fascinated by, the subconscious shadows of the mind. The only way we free ourselves is if we realise we're in a cave and we have the ability to turn round and walk outside. But Socrates argued that it would be too painful for many people to leave the cave that they have always known. And that's why I don't feel like I'm here to convince anybody of anything anymore. The cave is dark and the walls are real, but with enough light and truth and trust, the shadows have nowhere to hide. Thank you all for watching. I would love to know all of your thoughts on anything I have ranted about. If you've enjoyed this kind of video, because it is a little bit different to my normal ones, let me know in the comments and I'll catch you in the next one.